Yo, what's going on, everybody? Yours truly, Johnny Belize. So, I figured I'd jump on for a little bit. I haven't had a chance to do any live. So, hello, Maze. Coming up and hanging with me? So, Maze going to come up and hang with me? Huh? So, I haven't had a chance to do too many lives, although I don't do lives every day. I've been working a lot of overtime lately. Last week, I was supposed to work like 11 or 12 days straight, but I had to put an end to that because I was just spent. But anyway, I thought I would jump on for a little bit, say hi to all my peoples on TikTok, and just to let you guys know, the water in Philadelphia is deemed safe, so we are now allowed to drink tap water. Just checking in, see who's jumping in. Good morning, everybody, or should I say good afternoon in Philadelphia. It is 12:53 here in Philadelphia, so anybody jumping in, come on and say yo. Again, the tap water has been deemed safe here in Philadelphia. And which is cool. Baseball season is on a start. So that's an interesting day here in Philadelphia. See how our Phillies are going to manage this year. So if any of you guys actually look at some of my videos, I recently put out a video, and for you guys that don't know, I also do paranormal investigations. I'm not no YouTube sensation paranormal guy. I'm not no TV paranormal guy, but I can tell you this, I've been involved in the paranormal field for about 14 plus years. And I'm not going to talk smack on any historic location, nor am I going to talk smack about this one. But what I do want to talk about is the style of investigation. And it's what I have a problem with. So when we did an investigation, well, let's rephrase that. We went on a fun investigation. I was invited to go to an investigation with people who like to do paranormal investigations. And I tried to do a legit one, but it just wasn't working out that way because people, what's this? I'm cross-eyed too, bro. It's okay? Yeah, no problem. You got it, Charlie's Angels. So anyway, not cross-eyed. Anyway, so I just decided to have some fun. But I want to talk about their style of investigations. And when people use a ghost box, for those who are not familiar with paranormal equipment, a ghost box is basically a AM and FM radio style transistor. You look like you enjoy the McRib sandwich in private. Oh yeah, how about that? So anyway, so a ghost box is basically an AM/FM transistor radio style that fast forwards through multiple different channels. And it goes forward and it goes backwards. And the theory is with that happening, you will get responses from entities / spirits. The problem I have with that is, again, you're getting very fast clips of radio stations. And I'm not a science guru or some kind of quantum physics person, but I do want to say this. You're catching glimpses of voices. And if you put them together, that's what's happening, you're meshing all these channels and quickly, you're going to get a word. You're going to get a word. And when that happens, it doesn't mean that you're getting a response from a spirit or an entity. What that means is you're getting words, a word made up from the channels fast forward, backwards from AM to FM. I've tested it. And I'm telling you, if you go on the side of a road, if you're on a rubber raft in the middle of the ocean and you run this thing, you're going to get words. With that being said, is that raft on the middle of the ocean haunted? Is that side of the road haunted? No. So I'm simply saying this. For entertainment purposes, if you want to use that piece of equipment, fine, for entertainment purposes. But if you're trying to do a legitimate investigation, you're doing yourself and the profession of paranormal investigations an injustice. There may be people on here that are going to debate that with me. You can debate it all you want. I'm not sold on it. I will never be sold on it. And if I have a client says to me that, for instance, I'm going to tell them exactly what I just said. Perfect example. We have people in the paranormal field that are high on orbs. Everything that flies by is an orb, and it's a ghost, it's an entity, it's a spirit. It is not. My good friend Glenn Orwin, who's been a paranormal investigator just as long as I've been, has debunked all that. And we did that because the one time we had, hey, what's up, Greek Freak? So you can join into my conversation if you want. So we had an investigative team come out with this. Christ, this was early 2000s. And there was dust flying around. And the one lady, I'm not going to say her name because she probably still investigates. And again, I'm not out here to slam anybody. So she was going nuts. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. And me and Glenn both said to her, they're not orbs. And she was swearing up and down. And Glenn goes, yeah, you want to see the ghost activity really kick up? So basically, he was rubbing his feet all through the ground and you know, touching this and touching that. And you see the dust pick up. And he goes, well, I guess this house has a poltergeist now because look at all this activity. And, you know, you have to do this. You have to tell people, you have to show people that you have to be really particular and really, word I'm looking for. You have to really be picky on what you choose to what you deem as an activity or not. I can tell you that for many years, not too many places I go to, I collect evidence and say that it's actually haunted. I'll go back to places 2 or 3 times. Back in my heyday, I would investigate places 3 or 4 times. And, you know, each time I try to get evidence, I try to debunk it. I try to figure out what it actually is. But, you know, I'm getting tired of seeing these guys on YouTube going on here and freaking out over ghost boxes and stuff like that. These guys are strictly out there for the money. They're young kids, and it's disgusting. And these guys get millions and millions of followers because, again, no ratings, no show. And I'm going to tell you about no ratings, no show. I have been on the front page of the Philadelphia Daily News. Come here in the Philippines, a lot of ghosts. I'm not going to the Philippines. I'm actually moving to Central America. I retire in 3 years to Belize, hence my screen name. But I want to, before we go any further, I want to mention this. If you guys go to my YouTube channel, Johnny Belize, it's in my bio. You'll actually see I did a little bit of small video about the Shanley Hotel that we investigated. So if you're interested and you want to check that out, feel free to go on there. I think it's not a long video, but if you're interested in what the Shanley Hotel was, you'll get to see that. So again, go onto my link here, my bio, Johnny Belize, and subscribe to my channel, and you can check out the video of the Shanley Hotel. Or better yet, you can go on YouTube and look up Old City Paranormal. spelled OLDE, Old City Paranormal. And I used to have a channel on there, and I'm not going to put any more videos up on that channel. Everything's going to be under Johnny Blees. So if you want to go on Old City Paranormal's YouTube and check some of the old investigations, we did radio shows, so forth and so on. So back to the No Ratings, No Show. Again, we were on the front page of the Philadelphia Daily News. Now, Philadelphia is probably one of the top biggest cities in the United States. And with that being said, when we were featured on the front page of the Daily News, I got contacted by multiple different networks about doing a reality show, ghost hunting, like Ghost Hunters, Taps, that, Zach Baggins, BS, and all this. If you follow paranormal investigations, all these people on here that are fighting over Baggins and the other dude, they're all fake. They're all frauds. And if you're watching me and you see this, you're a fraud. You're a fraud. I've been there. I've done it. And it's simply this. The producers, and I'm not going to say networks, or they're the actual names, but I'm telling you that everything is scripted. I was told that when we do investigations, that they were going to set stuff up, and we were going to react to it. We were going to say this happened. We were going to say that happened, because the producers told us, no ratings, no show. And I'm going to tell you my response. That we considered it. And we did some sizzle reels, and they weren't bought by other channels. Totally okay. The reason being is because Taps was already established. Was that Penn or State Paranormal, whatever the hell it was? They were established. So when you're trying to get into a business that's already established, it's very, very hard. So what we said to the brass of all these networks, these television networks, is, what do you want us to do differently that isn't already done? Now, there's so many different multitudes of there's so many different multitudes of shows out there, and it's all the same thing. Some get a little bit more zealous than others do. When you watch my investigations, if I ever do a live or if I ever do a YouTube video or something like that, you're going to see an actual paranormal investigation. If you see me do something or hear something, it's going to be legitimate. So, with that being said, again, they use ghost box theories, which is absolutely, excuse my language, bullshit. What I'm saying is this. You can hear spirits through different wavelengths, through EVPs, voice recorders, so forth and so on. I started going on to the theory that if I started recording live on our phones or whatever during a paranormal investigation, could you possibly hear through your end an EVP? You might even see things that we don't see. Now, Taps did this once before, where they did a live event and there was a live interaction where you can send messages and, hey, I saw something here, and they would allegedly go out there and check that. Now, could things be scripted on that? Could there be props? Yes, there could be. I am going to say this. I do believe at one point the guys from Taps actually were doing this, like me, legitimately, like their early shows. Like, they wouldn't barely get any kind of evidence, and they would come back with very limited evidence, which is legit. But I can guarantee you what happened was the ratings weren't as good. So, again, producers probably said to them, we need to do something. If we need this show, we want this show to continue, we need to do something. We need to start fabricating evidence. We need you guys to jump out of your skin and say you heard this and you heard that and run down the hallway to see what was you just heard. With that being said, they became a phenom, if you want to call it that, and everybody watched their shows. I was one of them. And I thought, wow, this is really, really cool. Thank you for the person who followed me. And again, anybody jumping in here, if you want to go to my YouTube channel, just go to my bio here, Johnny Believes, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do I believe in the third eye? Others say that the reason why they see ghosts. I've heard about the third eye. What's up, Hermit? Yeah, I do believe people have the ability. I'm not saying, I mean, I don't have the ability, so I can't really say. But you can tell if people are legitimate or not. Some people can sell you a pile of dirt and tell you, like, oh, for example, the Shanley Hotel. Let me touch base on this. And again, I'm not mocking these guys. So we were in this room that they called the seance room. And the entire hotel was not completely under construction, but there's places you can't go. Well, the seance room, which they called it, is under construction. And they had a suitcase in the middle. And they said there was a haunted object in this suitcase. And they had EMF detectors around it, so forth and so on. And they had a prop out in the a motion detector that would, play music if it caught motion. And after I thought about it, I felt like not attacking, but questioning hard this haunted object and stuff like that. They said they let me get to this question. Had an experience at my mom's house after she died. Could happen, absolutely. But there was people paid $150. It wasn't, you actually got to stay at this place overnight. It's a bed and breakfast. Well, not a breakfast. Let me rephrase it. You can stay over. Yeah. Didn't know what happened until watching Ghost Hunter Adventures. Yeah. So, I'm not telling people not to watch these shows. You want to watch it, you want to be entertained, feel free. But just keep in mind, what you're watching all the time isn't going to be 100% what's actually occurring. And back to that prop. If something was really, truly haunted, legitimately, would you just keep it in a briefcase? And do you think a briefcase is going to hold something that's haunted with no kind of religious artifacts on it or anything to keep this haunt at bay? I mean, you got to think. You really got to think. And to me, that place... Now, I want to go back again, and I want to do a straight-up legitimate investigation. SLS camera's good. But I want to do a legitimate investigation here. I'm not going to fall for, let's go to the seance room. I'm not going to do that. What's going on? Dumpty 90. Chilling, my brother. Just talking about paranormal investigations. What makes me an expert on the subject? What makes me an expert on the subject is I'm an investigator by trade. I've been an investigator for 25 years. I learned over the time, and I've spoken to other people who've been in the paranormal field a lot longer than me about different equipments to use, different theories to use. And what also makes me an expert in it is I'm not going to say everything that happens is haunted like a lot of other people do. I'm going to look into what could have actually caused that. I'm going to delve deep. I'm going to come in with a lot of hard questions. And if I can't come up with as to why that happens, if there's no scientific explanation or other than scientific explanation, then there has to be a reason. I love watching or listening about paranormal, but side of me, I feel scared. Well, you should feel scared because you don't know what you're seeing. Everything that happens is haunted. What TF does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Everything that happens is haunted, question mark. I said everything that happens isn't. You have to look into it. You have to come up to reasons as to why things are happening. You got to look at all, like you have to look at, as an investigator, it's called the totality of the circumstances. You have to look at the overall picture. If you're not, you're doing the field, you're doing your client, you're doing the historic location, you're doing everything an absolute injustice. Love the Skinwalker Ranch shows. I never seen Skinwalker Ranch shows. Yeah, I just question a lot of people's theories of paranormal investigations, and I would be more than happy to have a debate with other paranormal investigators on here, with their theories and their techniques. I can't say if somebody doesn't have, I want to say power, the ability to see spirits, talk to spirits. I can't say that. I never heard of Skinwalker Ranch. Never heard of it. What channel is Skinwalker Ranch on? Or is it on YouTube? Never heard of it in all my time. Oh, it's on YouTube? Oh, there you go. Netflix. I'll have to look that up on Netflix. Is it a movie? Is it a documentary? Because again, if it's a movie, is that true that ghost or spirit's ability from energy like I don't understand that. Is that true that ghost or spirit ability from energy like light? If I understand your question correctly, I'm going to answer this in two ways. If a place is haunted, it's haunted all day. It's haunted during the day. It's haunted in the afternoon. It's haunted at nighttime. Spirits can use energy from a multitude of different things. We're surrounded. If you take an EMF detector and you go around your house with it, you're going to pick readings up from your radio, your microwave, your outlets, your lights, like anything. And anywhere there's electromagnetic field, again, the theory is that's how entities, spirits, etc. get their energy to create a paranormal activity. I'll come back after you do some Skinwalker Ranch. Listen. It's okay. You don't listen. Skinwalker Ranch did not write the book on paranormal investigations. Paranormal investigations go way much further back than Skinwalker Ranch. So you're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't come back to me after I watch a YouTube show. Trust me. I just been doing this way too long to have to rely on a YouTube video to tell me how to do it. Again, I've been an investigator besides the paranormal field. I've been an investigator for 25 years. I know what I'm doing. Trust me when I tell you that. I use basic theories to do paranormal investigations. I don't need all kinds of tools, all these technology things. Like, I don't need that because, again, if a place is haunted, it's going to be haunted. Stuff's going to happen. Just because I don't have a teddy bear that has an EMF detector in it, or a string of light that's going to flicker or something like that when something passes by it, all that equipment to physically use that to deem something haunted, no, because if something's haunted, you can basic voice recorders, EMFs, K2 meters. I have what's called a modified K2 meter, which has a K2 meter. It has a thermal temperature gauge, and it also has ultraviolet lighting into it. And that machine, that 3-in-1 machine, can give me everything I need to know in one, that if I have something legitimately occurring. Again, we have people using cell phones. We have people using CBs. We have all kinds of things. Let me ask you this question. Just because you get a flicker in your K2 meter, does that mean it's a paranormal activity occurring? No, it doesn't. If you have a flicker in your K2 meter, and if you have a flicker in your K2 meter, you're quite welcome, therapy. If you have a K2 meter and you're also getting a reading with your thermal temperature gauge and whatever other piece of equipment. So if you get 3 things occurring at once, it's a little bit more convincing to be a possible paranormal activity than just a small flicker off a K2 meter. Say you have your K2 meter out, you're doing an EVP session. You get an EVP while your K2 meter goes off, and a fluctuation in temperature. You get a multitude of different things occurring when something happens, is a little bit more convincing than just a small blip on your K2 meter. Because 9 times out of 10, I would go 9.5 times out of 10, people are most likely have cell phones on, and there's other people too that have phones and stuff that could actually cause your K2 meter to fluctuate. It's been proven. Based on your experience, do you think one ghost or spirit still has memory? If it's an intelligent haunt, possibly. If it's not an intelligent haunt, no, because it's just that tape recording effect that's just going to keep playing. And honestly, how can you tell? Well, if you're having an intelligent haunt and you're doing an EVP session and you're asking questions about situations, could it be them? I mean, if it's an intelligent haunt, I don't know. Could they have memory? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think anybody. I think the answer to that is nobody knows. Nobody knows the answer if a spirit has a memory. I can tell you this, and I'm going to pose this question to you because this is something that actually happened to me at a place that's probably one of the most haunted locations that nobody ever investigated, by the way. My group was the only one that investigated that, and I can tell you that 100%. The only time another group came into there is when we got them in there. So we were at a location that, in my eyes and places I've investigated, is 100% haunted without a shadow of a doubt. We've investigated it during the day, during the afternoon, and night, and all 3 occurrences we've had evidence. With that being said, the first time we were there, I went to an area where this person had seen, 2 people had seen a full body apparition, and we investigated in that area. So basically, I was touched in the middle of my back. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to fast forward into another investigation. Thank you for the follow. We came back for another investigation. I went to the same location, and we did an EVP session. And I said, "Were you the person that touched me?" And I had a direct response. The direct response I got was, "Did it hurt?" So in that aspect, there must be memory, because I asked a question of something that happened in a previous investigation, and it responded to me. It said, "Did it hurt?" So, in that theory, yeah, I guess there is memory. So I hope that answered your question. You're quite welcome. I hope my explanation of that gave some clarification. But that is actually the only time in 14 years that I had an EVP of a response from something that happened at a previous investigation. That was the only time that happened. It's never happened again in my career that I've been doing this. Lex Luthor in the house. What's going on? You just missed some good conversation, man. I got a little bit longer to hang on here. And then I got to get ready and work some overtime tonight. I know you guys haven't seen me on here in a while. I've been working a lot of overtime. A lot of stuff going on, getting my house fixed up. So I try to get on as much as possible. I did put up a couple videos. So if you guys want to go back onto my all my videos and stuff on here, you feel free. I actually also did a video of one of the places we investigated, did a paranormal investigation. So you can go onto my YouTube channel. As like I tell everybody, Johnny Believes, it's on my bio. Go on there, subscribe, and you'll see the Haunted Shanley Hotel, which we investigated, I think it was, 2 weeks ago? That's up in Napanoch, New York. Johnny Believes. Boxer or briefs? Why is that even a question? You left out tighty whities. You're supposed to say boxers, briefs, or tighty whities. I'm going to pose that back to you. Boxers, briefs, or tighty whities? Let's see what your response is. There you go. So you got your answer for yourself. So you see, you didn't even need me to answer that question. You just answered it for yourself. My man. My man. I had experience before waking up with one old lady lying down on my arms. One time happened second. I'm gonna give you similar to what you had. If you guys watched Taps Ghost Hunters, at one point years ago, I don't know how many years ago, Taps Ghost Hunters went to Fort Mifflin in Philadelphia, just outside of Philadelphia. And I've hosted Fort Mifflin's Sleeping with the Ghost for 5 years. 5 consecutive years, and it sold out for 5 consecutive years. In the one barracks, I slept in the area which was the higher enlisted area. And it was probably, I came after work, so I was a little tired. So with that being said, I went to sleep. I don't know, maybe around 12, 1, 2 o'clock, something along that line. And the door was shut. And it's a very old building. It's one that has the hand latch that opens up the door, and it's got a metal latch, so it's very distinctive. I didn't hear the door open, but what I heard was a single set of boot steps coming towards me, and I thought it was my buddy Glenn. And then I felt like it was like a knee jerking me. Basically, what my experience was, in a fort was somebody waking me up to go on watch. So I kind of peeked up and I looked up and I didn't see nobody there. Sat up, nobody was in the room. So I laid back down to go back to sleep. And startled me a little bit. Anyway, in about 10, 15 minutes later comes my buddy Glenn Orwin. And he was coming in to mess with me. With that being said, he's like, dude, you weren't sleeping. So I told him what happened. As I was telling him the story as to what happened, one of the staff members from Fort Mifflin came by, and he overheard my story. So I explained to him what happened. He looks at me and says, now the barracks are all one, the enlisted barracks, but the side I was in was partitioned off by a door. He said one of the paying guests here that paid for the event had the same identical experience that you had. She told me she got her stuff and left. She was so freaked out. So here you had two people in opposite ends of the room, had the identical experience, and I didn't get a chance to speak to this lady, had the identical experience I had. She was so freaked out, she packed her stuff and left. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to leave you with that story. I want to thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me today and hearing my my live. It's time for me to get ready for work. So if you get an opportunity, go to my channel, Johnny Believes. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a follow on TikTok. And time to get ready for work. You guys take care. Stay safe.